name tucked in your phone, like a cut you never treat.
You laugh like you're fine, tilt your glass, change the theme, but you still sleep on one side, saving space for an old dream.
You still won't let go of the past, got your hands on a ghost that won't come back. Every story ends with before it went bad. You keep living in a photograph. You still won't let go of the past, and it's pulling you down, pulling you back.
You wear the same old shirt from the night it fell apart. Say it.
All right. Okay. So that song that was just playing, I didn't want to play the whole thing because it already played already, is from one of the new songs that are going to be on the Rooted and Rooted and Rising Radio. So I'm getting my radio playlist together. So I decided to create another album. And so that is just one of the songs from that album. All right. So welcome back to Legacy Liftoff. As you know, we have been working out of the Empowerment Melanated Woman's Playbook for Time Management and Leadership. You guys, let me tell you something. We have another book coming. I'm just telling you. When these ideas hit me, when I'm in a point where I can start knocking them out, I love doing it. Okay. So I think I've written down, I'm up to my 6th or 7th ebook. Just by the ideas that come in my head that I think we should be talking about as melanated women. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's take this out. I need to take this out right here. Okay. So I hope you guys have enjoyed yourself today. You guys, I hope some of you guys were able to listen to the readings I did today. They were very good and right on point. They made me feel good to do them. Like I said, I love helping our people. Period. I just do. That's just part of me. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're in chapter 7, effective delegation. We know sometimes we do not like to, I'm a type person where I don't like to delegate. Now, my son might have a different opinion to that, or my husband might have a different opinion to that, but I don't like delegating. If it's something I can do on my own, I don't like bothering anybody. So I will not bother anybody when it has to be something I can do myself. Unless it's out of my hands, then I'm definitely going to ask for help. That's just me. So let's go ahead and get started because you know what, it's going to crunch into my other time for the Can We Be Frank show, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so we're on chapter 7. We're almost there. I think we got one more chapter to go in this book. And you guys, I promise you, I will not make you do an open book test on this one, okay? Because when I came in on this book with you guys, I think y'all were probably just coming back down off of your reeling from the other book. So I said, okay, I'm not going to bother them this time. But the next book, I'm going to bother you on the next book, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I want to say this. If I sent you guys that link and you want to come into the room and talk, definitely do that with that link. You know you can do that with that link, okay? You can be on the panel, in other words, if that's what you want to do. I just wanted to let you know that, just in case, you know, you don't have to just chat in the room. You have the link to come inside too. Right now, and I can't see it because I'm on a whole nother screen. So if you are trying to get in, give me a second. I'm going to do this and I can get back over to that screen. Okay, so the last time we came together, we talked about time blocking. I even showed you a video of what I think it's called Pondero, um, what that looks like in time blocking, how you can use that. So if you want to go back and see that, I think I should have that on one of these. If not, just let me know. But it shows you how to do the time blocking using that method. Um, and now we're talking, because again, you got to keep in mind, we're talking in time management, how the playbook for us to use. We understand that our timing is different from other people or other our counterparts timing, because there's a lot of pressure put on us to do certain things. So we talked about that. So our dynamics is a little bit different. We have to do a lot of adjustment to fit in. So and with that adjustment sometimes comes a lot of stress. So that's where we were on chapter, I think that was chapter 6 we talked about. So coming up to the power of delegation and leadership. Okay, so the power of delegation and leadership is a transformative tool that can be significantly enhanced. The effectiveness of melanated women in leadership roles, by recognizing that leadership is not about doing everything oneself, okay, but about empowering others, right? Giving other people that it's not even about authority, but giving them that space that they can do the same thing. And that's what leaders are. Leaders are not to be dictators or wardens. Leaders are to create other leaders. If they have people following them, if they have students, what are you trying to do? Just teaching them and then moving on? No, you're teaching them so that they can take your place one day. Okay, because everybody has a shelf life, and leadership has a shelf life. You can't be a leader all your life. It's great. One of the great attributes of being a leader is creating other leaders. Okay, so think about that, right? Empowering others. Leaders can create a more dynamic and productive environment. Delegation allows women to focus on strategic goals while encouraging their teams with confidence and skills needed to take ownership of tasks. See, everything. This is not only fosters growth within the team, but also cultivates an atmosphere of trust and collaboration. So, do you see the benefit of being able to delegate those, giving trust, having enough trust, having enough integrity in that person to know that whatever you give them, whatever tasks you give them, they're going to be able to pass, to actually complete the task, right? So, in the realm of entrepreneurship, the art of delegation becomes even more critical. Many melanated female entrepreneurs face the challenge of limiting resources and time constraints. I told you we always come with a bunch of stuff that goes on with us. By strategically delegating tasks, they can optimize their productivity, ensure that their business objectives are met without overwhelming themselves. It says this shift in mindset from a do it all approach to empowering others can lead to a greater innovation and creativity within their organization. So we understand that, right? Moreover, delegation is instrumental in developing future leaders. What did I say? When melanated women in leadership roles delegate responsibilities, that's right, they are not merely distributing tasks, they are nurturing the next generation of leaders. What did I say? This process helps to build skills, confidence, and a sense of accountability among team members. The ripple effect of its empowerment can significantly contribute to the growth of a diverse leadership in various sectors, right? Ultimately benefiting the community as a whole. So, all the work that you do with the people that you're using, delegating those tasks, those responsibilities to other people, definitely does a widespread thing, right? Because most of the time, when you're a leader, you're setting examples in the way that you interact with other people, how you handle and solve problems. People will look at that, and if they come upon a problem, they'll be able to solve it the way that they saw you solve it or how you taught them to solve it. Because you always have to have some semblance of understanding how to solve problems, right? For example, last night we were on the Can We Be Frank show, which we're going to be doing in a few minutes. Well, I got a little bit of time. So we were talking about, I had voiced my opinion about the city council president, right? And how she handled one of the constituents. And I suggested that maybe because I've dealt with veterans, I've dealt in customer service, not just parents. I've done all facets of customer service. So when you're dealing with someone that you feel that might be a little bit difficult, you have to be able to handle them. So I suggested that maybe she should say to that constituent, when I um, put together a town hall meeting, we can talk about those subject matters then. You want to calm the person. You don't want the person all irate, and you don't want to get them all worked up. So if you talk to them in a way and give them a solve, because they have a problem, you're supposed to come with the solution. And from the situation that was going on, the best thing to do was to accommodate them with a town hall meeting, or just a one-on-one meeting could have taken place, or could have been suggested, instead of going at someone. But again, like I said, other people have different experiences in either in their workplace or their personal lives. It's just natural for me to be that way because that's what I've always done, customer service. So I've trained, I've taught classes on customer service. So that is just a natural thing. That would be how I handle that situation. There's another example, real quick. When I was working at the VA hospital, we had one of our patients that really wanted his medication, and he was really spazzing out. And I brought him over to my cubicle and I set him down, him and his wife, and I calmed him down. And as soon as the doctor could help them, I got him his help. He was being impatient, waiting for his medication. The doctor had to do some extra stuff for this medication. So he was really acting up. So I just said, okay. So at the end of the day, are you thinking that you're going to walk out of here with your medication? Is that the end result of this whole thing going on here? And he's like, yeah, I want to leave out of here with my medication. I said, okay. So what is the best thing you should do if you want to walk out of here with your medication? Because it also can be mailed to you. So you give them an option. You give them choices, because what you're doing is you're putting that responsibility back on them. And he finally calmed down, and he went out into the waiting area and sat. And he even came back and thanked me. Something simple. But everybody's not built to handle people. They're just not. Some people are not people. And that's why whenever I see people doing customer service, you got to really want to do that job. It can't be your attitude, what's going on in your life is not relevant when you're dealing with someone who's going through a crisis and they're coming to you for help. Your situation doesn't have anything to do with it. And see, that a lot of times that's what I think people who do not know how to handle their personal lives or things that happen at the job, they'll take it out on the customer. And sometimes you can't put that in the same, you can't do that. You have to figure out how you're going to handle that person. And there's so many different problem solving situations that you can deal with. And I'm not getting off subject. I just wanted, because we're talking about delegation. We're talking about delegating responsibility. So if you are a business owner and you have people who work for you and they have to deal with corrupt customers directly, and if they see you acting a fool, guess what they're going to do? They're going to act a fool just like you're acting a fool. If you sit down and know how to solve a problem with that customer, an irate customer, then guess what you're teaching? You're training your customer service people or your workers to do, or your employees to do, is to do the same thing. So that's why it's important that you're setting an example as a leader, and especially when you're delegating authority, right? Or delegating a task, right? So this process helps to build skills, confidence, and a sense of accountability among team members. The ripple effect of the empowerment can significantly contribute to the growth of diverse leadership in various sectors, ultimately benefiting the community as a whole, because that's what you want to do. The effective delegation also plays a crucial role in time management. So, how does that work, right? By identifying which tasks can be delegated. Melanated women leaders, can free up precious time to focus on high impact or more important activities, right? This is not only enhances their personal productivity, but it also sets a standard for their teams, right? So when leaders model effective time management through delegation, it encourages team members to adopt practices leading to a more efficient and harmonious work environment. So you set up a system that works for your teams, right? And you watch them as they go through the process of making sure everything does that, because that is the way, again, you're delegating them. You're taking the responsibility off of you once you set the system up that they're going to actually work it, and they're going to do it to your standard, because again, you're in charge, you are the leader, so you want to make sure that they're processing and doing everything the way that you want them to do it, and so that it'll be efficient and effective, and it's synchronized and there's harmony in it. You're getting people off doing whatever they have to do, right? Especially when you're working on a major project. So in conclusion, the power of delegation is an essential skill for melanated women in leadership and entrepreneurship. Embracing this approach allows them to harness the full potential of their teams, right, while managing their time effectively. By understanding the importance of delegating both task and authority, these leaders can create a lasting impact not only in their organizations, but also within their communities, paving the way for future generations of empowered women. Okay. Okay, so let me go back here. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Who is hitting me? Good evening. Sorry I'm late. That's fine. Miss Bell, that is fine, sweetie. Okay. Great, 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 great. Um, so, oh, Miss Bell, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anybody else who want to come up on the stage? Anybody want to step up on the stage? Come on in. Come on in. Hi there, Miss Bell. How are you, ma'am? Hello. I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm good.
Okay, good, 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 good. Anybody else who want to come up here, come on up. Come on up. So far, what do you think about time management for melanated? It's a playbook for melanated women dealing with time management. What do you think about the part we're talking about in delegation, delegating the work and the task? What do you think about that?
Well, I came on a little bit late, so I didn't
Oh,
hear that part. I'm sorry.
that's all right. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So we'll okay. So I'll just dig into it and let you come on in when you get where I'm at.
Okay.
Okay. This is just the beginning because I was running off at the mouth. Identifying tasks to delegate. So this is a good part right here. Knowing which tasks to delegate. So, in the journey of leadership and entrepreneurship, the ability to identify tasks that can be delegated is crucial for effective time management. Melanated women in leadership roles often juggle numerous responsibilities, making it essential to discern which tasks require their personal touch and which can be entrusted to others. This process begins with an honest assessment of one's workload and the skills of team members. By recognizing the strength of those around them, leaders can allocate tasks more efficiently, freeing up valuable time for strategic decision making, and personal growth. So, in a sense, say you have a task coming up and you already know all your team members, right? So you know what their strengths are and you know what their weaknesses are. And you put them, or you delegate certain tasks to get this project done. They have to do certain tasks. Say for one, you have someone making the phone calls, right? Getting all the information. Then you have another person researching. Then you have another person actually putting the plan together. You know what their each individual's strong points and their weak points, because you have worked with these people before. And you're the leader, so you already know how things are going to be done. Again, you've already set up a system what works for them, for your whole team. So it wouldn't be a hard part for you to have to fuss and come behind them and check behind them and give them a hard time, because you've already worked with them before. You've already known what they can do and what they can do. You never try, especially when you have a deadline, you never throw somebody in something that they're not familiar with. Okay? You never throw somebody into a task that you never completely, correctly explain to them. And you always have to keep yourself open to questions that they may have. Sometimes we get into these positions and don't ask me no questions. I told you what to do. And sometimes that is not how you handle your your teams, your team players, your employees. You don't handle them like that. Because I'm a questioner. I love asking questions. You can call me dumb, stupid, or whatever. I'm going to ask questions if it's something I don't understand. And I'm not going to feel any way different. If you told me to do something, you give me the proper resources, I don't mind doing it. But if I have a question, I'm going to ask your question. You cannot get frustrated with me, especially if it's something you threw me into that I'm not familiar with. If you put me in an unfamiliar territory, I'm not going to sit there and try to figure it out. I'm going to ask you, because you put me somewhere where I'm not, it would be considered a weak point because I've never done it before, right? So you have to prepare yourself for that, not to do that with your team members. You have to make sure they're trained properly, because that's your job, is to make sure they're trained properly. So when you do set them off to do a task, they're prepared to do that. Okay, so where did I leave off at? Melanated women leaders can cultivate a culture where team members feel valued and capable. Not only boosts morale, but also enhances productivity within the team. Understanding that delegation is a two-way street allows leaders to mentor, because that's the word, mentor, their team, while also alleviating their own burden, creating a win-win situation. So having that relationship with your team members is important. Knowing where you stand. I'm not saying going to lunch with them, hanging at their houses. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm talking about having a work relationship that both of you guys benefit from. You don't have to get personal with your boss. Your boss doesn't have to know that your dog is sick. Your boss doesn't have to know that your husband is sick. Your boss doesn't have to know that you're divorced. Your boss doesn't have that authority to know all that information about you. And you shouldn't be volunteering that information to them, period. It is a work relationship. So any conversation you need to have with them has to pertain to work. Or, I mean, to each his own. You do your thing. But I've learned that I like to keep it simple. It's about the job. Point blank. We don't need to talk about anything else. You don't need to know where I'm going this weekend. You don't need to know what my husband's name is. You don't need to know any of my personal business, because this is not what it's about. It's not going to get me paid any more money, right? So I don't need to talk about that to you. This is a job, okay? And this is how that's the relationship I need with you, nothing else, okay? So to identify tasks suitable for delegation, it is beneficial to categorize responsibilities into three and to identify tasks suitable for delegation. It is beneficial to categorize responsibility into three distinct areas: core activities, support tasks, and administrative duties. Core activities are those that directly align with the leader's vision and mission, while support tasks can include project management, and client communication. Administrative duties, on the other hand, often consume significant time, but do not necessarily require the leader's expertise. Okay, so by analyzing tasks in this manner, melanated women can pinpoint which responsibility can be handed off to others, allowing them to focus on what truly matters. And again, this is all about how you train your employees and what they can and cannot do. Okay, thank you, baby. Okay, okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, I was reading my notes. Okay, so I don't want you to think I'm leaving you out. Okay, so we know that is very, 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 very important whenever we're doing this, right? Furthermore, regular reflection on delegated tasks can lead to improved delegation strategies. It is vital to evaluate the outcomes of tasks assigned to others, ensuring the quality of efficiency remains intact. So, again, this is the time when you might have to have one of those meetings. Everybody's doing the work, right? But you might have to stop for a minute and go back and ask the question, okay, you guys, let's have this team meeting real quick. Anybody having problems? Do you need this? Do you need that? You as a leader, you don't just throw the work at them and leave them, right? To their own. You don't do that. You check on them. I'm not saying micromanage them, right? I'm saying check on them. Do a once a week meeting. Say you have a 5-week project that needs to be done in 5 weeks. Once a week, you need to gather everybody together to make sure everything is being done the way that it's supposed to in order to have that project completed by the end of the 5 weeks, right? So that weekly meeting you have with everybody to see where everybody is, if anybody's having any issues, any problems, all that stuff needs to take place on a weekly basis if you have a project that has to be done in 5 weeks, say 5 weeks, because it's a big project. So I think 5 weeks is a good time, right? So you get everybody together. If you do need to do a one-on-one with them, pick that time and do a one-on-one with them, because sometimes people do better when they have a one-on-one with their leader. They don't feel so pressured, right? And they don't feel, some people feel like they're, when people, you have some insecure people that you work with, some of them don't like, or shy people, some of them don't like to ask the questions in front because they don't want to feel like they're being dumb. So maybe you can set up a one-on-one with each one of them, right? And have that, hey, how far are you going? How far are you on the task? Do you need some help? Is everything going right? So you want to check on them. You want to definitely have a way of checking on them, because again, the ultimate goal is to make sure everybody's working together and this project gets done, right? So it is vital to evaluate the outcomes of tasks assigned to others, ensuring that quality and efficiency remains intact. Feedback from the team members about the delegation process can also provide insight into how to refine these practices. This ongoing evaluation not only strengthens the team's capabilities, but also it enhances the leader's ability to make informed decisions about future delegation. So they know the leader knows, okay, I can work with these people again. I can see that they can do this. Again, each time a task or a project comes up, they automatically know who can do what, right? They already know that. So they know what to assign you to. They know how to assign Becky to something, because already you guys have proven yourself. Okay. Ultimately, ability to delegate effectively is a powerful tool in the arsenal of melanated women in leadership and entrepreneurship, right? It enables them to harness the collective strengths of their teams. That's right, leading to greater innovation and success. By recognizing and embracing the importance of delegation, these leaders can create a dynamic work environment that supports both individuals and collective growth, paving the way for a brighter future. So when you have a group of people that you have no problem with working with, and you don't have to check up on them 24/7, and you don't have to do all that extra stuff with them, they know what to do, they know how to do it, you have trained them properly, man, it'll work. Everything will work like clockwork. All you have to do is wait for the project to be released. Okay? So you definitely want to have your team in that mode of knowing that they can work together and they can work with you, because that's what's important. And funny that the next subject, the next sub chapter, is talking about building a trustworthy team. How do you do that, right? So, in the journey of leadership, building a trustworthy team is paramount, particularly for melanated women in leadership roles. A strong team not only supports your vision, right, but it also amplifies your impact on the community. This is all important. Trust is the foundation upon which effective collaboration is built. And as a leader, it is essential to foster an environment where team members feel valued and respected. Please, 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 please make sure that is what you're doing when you're working with a team of people. Is to make sure that they can trust you and you can trust them and you value them. All the time, what makes when I say to each and every one of you guys, when we're closing out this show, when we're closing out anything that we do, I always thank you guys by your name. Okay? I do that because it's important that you guys understand I value your time that you take off listening to us yammer about all kinds of stuff, laughing and joking and being serious all at the same time. I value that. So me saying your name out loud and speaking and giving you and thanking you for being in the space that we're in, that's what I can give back to you. If I can't give anything else to you, I can give you that. So that to me is very important, and I don't like missing people's names. Um, I thank you so, and I'll say that over and again, and I want you guys to really truly understand. I am not just saying that to say that. I'm saying that because I am truly, and I've been this way, where I'm truly grateful and filled with appreciation for you guys to take time out and listen to us, right? Even on this, when I do this legacy liftoff, when I do my webinars, even when I do the shows that we do. This is definitely from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you guys 100%. If I don't talk to you again, I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to us, because you don't have to. You could be doing other things, right? So definitely, I appreciate that. So it says here, feel valued and respected. This begins with open communication and transparency, allowing team members to express their ideals and concerns freely, which in turn cultivates a sense of belonging and commitment, because that's what you want to do. You want to make them feel part of the team, not just on the worker or an employee, but you want them to be able to feel like they belong in this space with you. Okay. To establish trust, it is crucial to lead by example. Oh my, oh, love it. Demonstrating integrity in your actions and decisions sets the tone for your team. When your team observes you making ethical choices, yes, 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 and taking accountability for your actions, they are more likely to mirror these behaviors. I told you that earlier, right? Additionally, recognizing and celebrating the unique strengths and contributions of each team member not only boosts morale, but it also reinforces their trust in your leadership, right? Empowering team members by delegating responsibilities and involving them in decision-making process further solidifies this trust. So because sometimes, and I learned this working with lots of people, lots of people's personalities, you're dealing with a whole bunch of different personalities. Some people want to feel needed. Some people just say, give me the task, let me do it. Don't have to come over and talk to me. You don't have to do anything. Just let me do it. The ones who feel needed and wants to get validated through the work that they do, they're going to be more of the people that you have to probably spend more time with special attention to, okay? Because of your having to a certain extent, reassure them, okay? Because sometimes people like that, they're needy for a reason. Um, and you have to be able to handle them. So you have to look at each and everybody's personality, their traits, their personality traits, how they really are. And you find that out as you work with them, as you interact with them on a daily basis. You can find out what their personalities are. And then you have to make sure you create a team that can adjust, or everybody adjusts to those types of personalities. Because if you don't, you are not going to get what you want. You're going to get a lot of clashing, you're going to get a lot of gossip, you're going to get a lot of chaos, backbiting. You have to be careful when you put a team together who works well with who. Okay, because again, it's going to be your responsibility, because again, you're the leader. Okay. Moreover, creating opportunities for team bonding is vital in building a cohesive unit. So organizing regular team building activities, yes, yes, whether they are professional development workshops or casual gatherings, can strengthen relationships and foster collaborations, right? These experiences also allow team members to connect on a personal level, breaking down barriers and promoting a supportive atmosphere. A team that knows and trusts each other is more likely to work harmonious towards common goals and enhancing overall productivity. And that definitely really brought back to me the different jobs I've had where we had to work on a team um, basis, where everything was set up as a team, and learning the people you work with and actually working well with them and making things happen and being first to step out with that task completed, because you got the right people together to work with. That's why it's so important to know how to delegate your your authority, in the sense that everybody doesn't mind working with you. When people come to you and say, "I want to work on your team," you, well, why? Well, because you work very well. You're good with people. We watch you. We know what you do. We want to work on your team. Okay, let's go. And you put them to work because they already know what to do, right? The management plays a significant role in maintaining a trustworthy team. As a leader, setting clear expectations and deadlines while being flexible and understanding helps your team manage their responsibility effectively, providing them with the tools and techniques to manage their time optimal. I can't say that word optimally. Not only shows their investment, make sure I'm keeping up with the time, shows their investment in their growth, but also builds trust in your leadership. When team members feel equipped to handle their tasks, they are more likely to deliver quality work and support one another. Exactly. Perfect example. You know me, I have examples. I'm old enough. I've done a lot of jobs, so I have plenty of things I can pull out, right? So we were in, this was when I was stationed in Panama, and we had a big mission we had to go on, but everybody was not prepared to go on the mission. So my job was to take my team out on this certain mission, but we couldn't go anywhere until everybody was set and had everything to do, because it was one of those spur of the moment, like we got to get it done. So I told them that I needed my team to take care, because they had a lot of personal stuff to take care of prior to us going on this mission, and we had a little bit of time. So they needed to do certain things. So, and you might not do the same thing, but I trust the people that I work with enough to let them, like some people needed to go to their house and pick up stuff. So I would let them use my car. I tell them to go pick up that person, make sure that person do what they need to do, get all their stuff, so there was one person that was designated to drive the car, and for everybody to get their stuff to come back to the motor pool so we can pack up. Do you understand what I did with that? I trusted them with a personal item of mine. They were not, I wasn't worried about anybody doing anything because they were going to the barracks. Majority of my team lived in the barracks. So they would gather up all the stuff that they needed and they would put it in the car and they would come back to the motor pool and pack it up in the trucks. Okay. I trusted them. Now, if I would have never given them that chance to do that and we all packed up and left, do you know how that whole mission would have went? I would have probably had to beg people to do stuff. I would probably have to do half the stuff myself. But because I knew they needed to be taken care of prior to us going on this mission, I went on and I allowed them to do that. Take care, say bye to your mom, dad, cat, dog, whoever you need to take, because we didn't know how long we were going to be out. We were going to be gone. We were just spur of the moment. And that's what you have to be able to do when you're working on a team, right? And it was great. And I didn't do it because I wanted them to like me. I did it because in order for me to get what I needed out of them, I had to give up something, right? So in order for me to give up something, I needed to make sure everybody was taken care of. And I told them, raise your hand if you have to go back home and pick up anything. If you got to go back to the barracks, raise your hand. And when they said they did, I knew they didn't have cars. So I didn't mind them using my car to do everything they needed to do and then come back to the barracks. And they came back to the motor pool on time. We were able to go on that. So if I would have never given them that opportunity, then I would have to deal with a whole bunch of mad soldiers. And I didn't want to do that. So I'm just saying, all I'm saying, I'm giving you an example is how you should take care of them first. And then allow them, because then now they can think clearly and they can do the mission, because they don't have to worry about not being able to say bye to somebody, or didn't complete something they had at home to do, or they were not prepared. So you want to make sure your team are prepared to come to do whatever mission you have them doing, right? We understand all your personal stuff has to go to the side. We don't want to talk about you having an argument with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, dog, cat. None of that needs to be interfering in the mission that has to be completed. Okay. So so it says here, so time management plays a significant role in maintaining a trustworthy team. As a leader, setting clear expectations and deadlines while being flexible and understanding, because you have to be those things, helps your team manage their responsibilities effectively. Providing them with tools and techniques to manage their time optimally not only shows your investment in their growth, but also builds trust in your leadership. When team members feel equipped to handle their tasks, they are more likely to deliver quality work and support one another. So that was wonderful. If I would have never done that, I promise you, especially in the field, people would purposely sabotage tasks that has to be done. And you're getting chewed out by the upper people because one of your people didn't do what they said because they were mad at somebody else, because you let somebody else do something and you didn't let them do it. Because you got to remember, even though these are supposed to be adults that you're dealing with, a lot of people that you're dealing with, all these different personalities, a lot of people have not matured. So you're dealing with that too. So you have to be able to handle that. You have to be flexible and you have to be able to adjust to certain things that they have to do, right? So in conclusion, building a trustworthy team as a melanated woman in leadership, it is multifaceted endeavor and requires intentionality, and dedication. By fostering open communication, leading by example, right, creating bonding opportunities, and supporting effective time management, you can cultivate a team that not only trusts each other, but also shares a commitment to your vision. So the vision was we had a task that needed to be done. The vision is that task has to be completed. The vision was it was not done in the motor pool. It had to be done in the jungle. So we had to make sure everything was in place in order for that to happen. Everybody had a task to do. Everybody had a truck to make sure their trucks were up to par. Their maintenance was done. They had to make sure because of what I did, I refueled aircrafts, made sure all of those things that needed to be, all the equipment was ready to roll. So all of that on top of a time constraint to get everything out to where we were going was very, very important. Okay, so that's why you have to make sure everybody mind is concentrating on the task at hand. So you make sure they're prepared for that. Okay. So by fostering open communication, leading by example, creating bonding opportunities, and supporting effective time management, you can cultivate a team that not only trusts each other, but also shares a commitment to your vision. The strength of your leadership lies in the bonds you create with your team, within your team, ultimately driving success for both individuals and the collective. So you have that opportunity to make sure you are not a crappy leader. I don't care who you are. I don't care how important your business is to you. I don't care how important your job is to you. If you are a crappy leader, you're going to have crappy people in your on your team or in your business, because we're talking entrepreneurs too. If you have a nasty attitude, guess what? Your customer service representatives are going to have a nasty attitude. Okay? If you are very disrespectful to your team members, guess what? They're going to be disrespectful to your customers, and they will drive your customers away. Okay? I'm just saying. And believe it or not, just like with art, when we think about our boyfriends and our girlfriends and our husbands and our wives, how we take on some of their personality traits, that's what you do as a leader. As a leader, your team players, your team will take on some of your personalities, traits. Okay. And you want them to be the positive ones, right? You don't want them to have the nasty side of you, right? If they hear you hollering and screaming at somebody, right, and going off on people in front of them, what do you think they get comfortable doing? Doing it too. So that's why it's important that you know how to conduct yourself in front of them. Okay. It's just like a mom and dad. It's almost like a mom and dad, right? You when you're at home, you learn to act just like your mom and dad. You know, oh, you act just like your dad. You hear people say that, or you act just like your mom. Yeah, because you stepped back and you watched how they handle things. And again, when you're dealing with so many different personalities, you can tell the ones who are secure in themselves, in their jobs, and how they handle themselves, and how you give them tasks and they do it. And you can find the insecure ones, the ones who need to be patted on the back for everything, right? The ones who need your attention all the time. You're going to know that distinction, right? So you're going to know where to put them, where to place them when it comes to any type of tasks that need to be done, any projects, and you're going to know where to put them. So if you put them in a situation where you know they're going to be constantly doing other things, then you know you have to look at that person and you have to put them where. That's why you have to know who you're working with. You have to know their weaknesses. You have to know all those things when you're working, especially when it's a major project that needs to be done. You have to make sure everybody's working accordingly to their speed and then to their understanding, right? And their experience, first and foremost, on the job. Okay. So let's see here. So chapter 8 is the last chapter, and we'll talk about chapter 8 the next go around. Um, let me come back over here. Whoa. Okay. So tell me this. So what do you guys think about what we just talked about? Miss Bell, did you get an understanding of now what we were talking about?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. So let me ask you, can I your prior I'm about to ask you a crazy question. You already told me before. I was under the impression, because you have a military mindset, I was under the impression, you guys, you have to understand. I thought Miss Bell had served time in the military. But it was so weird that she never did, but she acted like a soldier. She gave me the impression that she did. But I know you worked in the federal prison system. So did you have that issue with some of your correction officers? If you had a team, if you were over somebody, did you have that issue?
I
Where I mean,
did. I did. Even as a supervisor, I did. And the
okay.
most important thing that I learned from that is you cannot, we were friends before
Hmm.
I got into that position. And once I
Yes,
got in that position, they thought they will be treated the same way. But I
exactly.
had to show them that no, I'm your supervisor. We can
That's right.
play those games or whatever when we're not at work, but at work, I'm going to hold you responsible for your job. And I
Exactly.
had to write up a couple of people. They
Hmm.
took me to the union and stuff like that, but um, it was very hard. Sometimes, at times, I regretted to even put in for that position because I knew how they were going to act because I knew them before I got to that position.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
It is kind of different from that, from you actually personally knowing these people opposed to you just coming on and being the supervisor and they're new and you guys are trying to get to know each other in a sense. Yeah, it's a whole big different ball game.
yes,
And I guess, but it couldn't have been worked anyway because you guys already had a personal relationship
right,
prior to that. So it is kind of, that is kind of a iffy type of situation. Um, Um, with me, a lot of people I didn't know already, especially in the military, because everybody comes from all over the place. So I wasn't too familiar with a lot of people. I've done other, like I've worked on different teams with people and learned them that way. But overall, I can't really say that I had a lot of problems with people not working with me. I don't
mm,
know. I never had. I can't remember. If I did, I can't remember. Let me put it to you like that. I don't. I can't remember because I hear what you're saying. Once you get in that position, you got to do the job. And once you become mission oriented, and you're letting them know, okay, we got to do this. Okay, this is what we got to do. We can talk about everything later on. If you got any questions, ask me questions. I can answer them when it's pertaining to the job. But that's it. And once you establish that, it should go smooth. But we know that's not
e-
that's not always possible
exactly because
because
I have
people do not. And just
because
some people. Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's I found myself in a situation where they had the employees had went and set up a almost like a intervention
Hmm.
thinking that I was the problem when they were the problem. And they actually convinced my supervisor that I was the problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I first of all, I tell them I come to work to do my job. I didn't come there to make friends, period.
Hmm. Yeah.
But, some of them test me and they got what they got.
Yeah.
And, and I was just like, I shouldn't have put in for this job, but I knew the job.
Uh-huh.
And it was, to me, I think they were testing me, but some of them found out for real.
Real quick. And it's like, and that's what I never could understand on jobs. Yeah, y'all, please, please, please. If you're going to work, why is it that we have to bring so much chaos in a job?
Right.
Why is it that we have to do that?
It's crazy.
It's like you are so miserable at your home or what's going on in your life that you bring all that into the workplace. Leave that at home. I don't understand that. Why would you bring that in the work and you make everybody around you miserable? There was this one young lady we worked with at the VA. And you know how you're that type of person where you got to prove everybody wrong. I was one of those people where I would befriend people. And I at the time, I think I was just so naive and I was so in the mode where I know people would like me. I know, you're one of them people that everybody, yes, Lita, hey, and I'm thinking this, and everybody warned me. Let me say this. Everybody that I worked with warned me about this one particular worker, this one employee. No, I was not listening. I think I can talk to her. I think I can do this for her. I think I can do that. Oh my God, a pure nightmare. And I looked at them and I couldn't even be shamed, right? Because I had to realize you asked for that because we told you that she was trouble. I mean, lunch, hanging out, shopping. I got really, because I wanted her to be accepted by everybody else because she gave these sob stories. And you wanted to make her feel, because she wound up down in our team, and you wanted to make her feel. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. Boy, did I get burned. It was a pure nightmare. A nightmare. And I said, never again. My whole attitude changed. I said, no more. I said, oh no. Mm-mm. I said, you guys, okay. You know, they looked at me like, I told you. I told you it was trouble. But I was just trying to be friendly because I was trying to prove everybody wrong. But no, I had to learn the hard way. So yeah, you have to understand. You gotta understand how to, and then you learn people's personality. And
Right.
I had this moment that I was gonna change somebody. No, mm, no, it was a nightmare. And I'm so glad that was years ago, over and done with. But I had to learn that lesson. And you think that you already know that? No, you don't. You really don't, because people are good at tricking you if you're not paying attention. If your antennas are not on, people can trick you, just like our men can trick us, just like women trick the whole 9 years. Everybody can trick you if you're not paying attention, and that's what happens. And you get burnt. You get burnt, and you have to move on. But yeah, so when it comes to being in those positions of being able to delegate tasks to people, and if you already personally know them, it will become a problem. But I think even when you tried to establish that from the get go, they didn't want to hear that because, for one thing, they probably didn't like the idea that you got the position first and
They
foremost.
didn't. They did not.
Mhm.
They
That
did.
yeah, that was a main big problem right there, is that they were not happy that you had that position. So they were gonna make it hard for you. Have you ever walked up on somebody talking about planning on doing stuff to you, or you hear them talking about doing something to everybody else?
I never had that happen, but I
Okay.
always felt like, they would try it.
Yeah, yeah,
They would try it.
yeah.
I did have one lady, I had to write her up, and we were good friends. We still are.
Uh-huh.
And
Hmm.
she eventually came and apologized because
Uh-huh.
she wouldn't do her work. And I
Hmm.
just stayed on her and I just wrote her up, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she apologized.
yeah.
It-
Yeah, and those experiences take you to, you take those experiences with you to other jobs that you get in, to know how to handle yourself from here on out. And that's why I say, when I do, if I go and work something, I'm here to do the job. You don't need to know anything about me. You don't need to know I have a horse. I live in a mansion. I drive. You don't need to know any of that about me, right? Keep your personal business out of that job, because people will do all they can to sabotage you. Well, I was talking to a guy in a post, and he was talking about getting his disability. So he says he told his boss about it. And I asked him why. Well, because he needed to know. I said, what made you think he needed to know what you're doing in your person? That's personal. That has nothing to do with the job. That has nothing to do with your paycheck with this man. Why would you tell him that? Oh, he already knew. He knew. I thought I would tell him, but you don't do that, because you know what happens? You're getting a free check where you don't have to work. Do you know how many people could be jealous of that, especially if they're not a disabled veteran, as your boss? Do you know how many people are jealous of the idea that you get a check and you're at 100% getting that check? And if you got kids in the family, that's more money, right? So you might be bringing in more than he's bringing in on his own. I mean, he got to pay his workers and everything, but you never know his mindset, the idea that you got a tax-free check coming in every month. People are funny. I don't think my boss needs to know that I'm a disabled vet.
right.
I don't think that's any of their business. And you they would find any way to fire you if they could, because some people are like that. That's why you have to know people's personality. You have to pay attention to people's personality. I'm not saying sit around and stare at them all day. I'm saying just watch, peep their actions, how they do things, how they interact. That's why I say what I say about certain people y'all hear me talk about on Can We Be Frank show, because I've peeped them out. I watched them. I see how they move. And it's not always a good thing. And they can hinder some of the things you're doing if you have them around you. Okay? So I am going to go ahead and let you guys go. I promise you, I'm not going to make you do an open book test. Miss Bell, you missed the open book test.
I did, but what I did do, I printed out the questions and I
Oh,
hadn't had a chance to go back to, and I don't want to go and listen to you giving the answer. I want to, you know, read them chapters and find it for myself.
okay, so you don't like to hear me read? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, ma'am. When I was on here the last time, you said, you know, you gave the answers, but I want to find the answers. I just
Okay,
didn't have time to read it because I had a still got a lot of stuff going on with me. And but I did print them up and I will read it and find the answers. And then I'll go back and watch that show that you gave the answer.
okay, all right, okay, okay. Awesome, awesome sauce. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so be prepared. We're about to go back on air in about 24 minutes because I got to do the Kimberly Frank show. Y'all, I do four things on Wednesdays, back to back to back. Well, I get a couple of hours in between them, but I got to make sure I get this done. And then tomorrow I have the other show I got to do. So yeah, so no, I love doing this. So I want to thank Miss Black LA Tech 92. I want to thank Miss Sister Sketch. I know who that is. And Miss Dixon. I understand you, Miss Bell, because I did the work too, and she gave the answer. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, she did. That's right. They were in there when I did it over on YouTube. So it's still on YouTube if you want to go back. So I mean I left it over there. The only reason why we came over here is because they wanted to be able to interact. And I think I don't know if I can do that on YouTube where I can bring you up. I'm not for sure. I never did it on YouTube. So I'll try it. I'm gonna try it over there, but I have this platform too. So I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, so but the next book we get ready to do, y'all want to see the next book we're gonna do? It's gonna be real good, but it's gonna be an open book test. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's gonna be an open book test. And it might be 75 questions.
Good Lord.
You're like, I'm not made for this. I'm not supposed to be doing this. This ain't no homework. But this is a way you can learn yourself, right? This is what this is about. We're learning how we do this, how we find the better us in all this stuff that we're doing. So this is why I love this. And you guys know, I was talking to somebody earlier. I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but I was saying how I am a big advocate for Black women, always have been. So if you guys hear me fussing about somebody, it's because that person has rubbed me wrong when it comes to us as a whole, not just women, but when it comes to our whole communities. And it bothers me when we have people who take for granted us. So that's why I get kind of, I'm sorry, I get kind of funky on when we're on Can We Be Frank show, because that bothers me. I have to understand as a woman and as a Black woman and all that we go through, how can you have the attitude you have toward us? You know what I'm saying? Treating us, never mind. But that's just something in my head.
No,
Um,
but you're actually right because I feel that way as well.
okay, gotcha.
Do.
Okay, okay. I feel much better because I felt in a way guilty, and I said I don't
Yeah.
want to
No.
think that I'm mean, but I am not. I just don't like. I cannot, for the life of me. Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to treat the people that is, that way when, and if you can see, no, shut up. Okay.
I
So,
I totally get it. I do.
okay, good, 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 good. Okay. So I don't feel bad. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I know you had Ramadan. I do remember that. You did tell me you had Ramadan. Yeah, okay. That's perfect. Look, you guys, you're fine. I like messing with you guys. Okay, you know I'm a joker, right? Yeah, it's gonna be 75 questions, Miss Dixon. Yes, but we got a minute to go. Okay, we're not getting in the book, and the book is I think it's got 8 chapters too, like this one does. So it's not gonna be that much, but it's gonna be a lot of information. Okay, yeah. Okay, I truly understand, and I must admit I was upset. Okay, okay, you got it. Okay, okay. So you guys, we're gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you, Miss Bell. Thank you, Latasha. Thank you, Miss Hall, and thank you, Miss Finley. You guys are great. Have a great night. Oh, I'll see y'all in a few minutes. I know you're gonna be on here in a few minutes. She said, no man, why should you feel guilty for speaking the truth and how you feel? Because y'all look, the reason why, let me say this. Let me break it on down because I can talk to y'all like that, and I don't care who else is listening. As the position that I hold here on this in this platform, in this arena as a coach, we're human too, okay? And we make mistakes and we do stuff and we cuss and we act a fool. But I want you guys to know that I'm a real person. I'm not faking. I know how to do this over here, what I'm doing here. And that's the reason why I love doing it, because it's an advocacy for Black women. So that's something I want to do. I just want you guys to know that I'm not trying to be wishy-washy with you guys. That bothers me if you feel that I'm being wishy-washy. I can't be that way. I mean what I say. That's why when I go, that person don't even talk to me when we go to them city council meeting. She first started talking to me, but when she figured out, when she saw a couple of our shows, her attitude changed, where she don't even say nothing to me at all. But she said to me one day when I first started going to meetings and she got into that position, she said, Sleeta, I would have never known you to talk like that. You were so quiet in school. And I had to break it down to her. I had to say, baby, do you understand? I've been different places. I've experienced a lot of things. I didn't stay here. I left here. So I got a chance to experience the world. And so when you come back, you're supposed to have a different mindset. That doesn't go for everybody. But I had a different mindset because of the experiences I had out there in this world when I left and went into the military. And then after the military, I experienced a lot of stuff. So I would not come back with the same attitude I left with, being quiet and timid. Not really timid, but I didn't talk to a lot of people. So that changes the dynamic. You come out of your shell. Some people come out of their shell and they this loud, wild, big mouth person like me, or they don't. But when she said that, I was like, okay. She thought I was quiet. Okay. I didn't think of myself like that. After that, she stopped talking to me. But anyway, um, speaking for myself, I never feel guilty of being honest. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you guys, let's get out of here so I can harass y'all over on the Can We Be Frank show. So good night, you guys. Well, let me not say good night because it's not over with. I'll
See
see
you
y'all.
later.
Yeah, see you later. There you go. There you go. All right. Bye bye, you guys.
Bye.